Welcome to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, the show where you get the inside access to the best minds in the game. Each week, Chris has the privilege of chatting with top instructors, legendary players, course architects, and industry insiders. If you're looking to improve your game, gain a new perspective, or just hear some incredible golf stories, you are indeed in the right place.
You see, Chris, let me tell you something, I haven't spoken to a press man in my life that is knowledgeable, seriously, as you are. Never.
You do such a great job. It kind of makes me feel good all of a sudden.
You do so much for the game. You're so kind to all of us that are out there in the game. You know, we need more people like you in the game of golf.
Thank you for pressing play. Now, grab your clubs, step up to the tee, and let's get started. This is Next on the Tee.
Hi, folks, and welcome into this week's edition of Next on the Tee, where golf legends live and your game gets better. I'm your host, Chris Mascaro. And in this week's episode, I get to share with you a pair of Toms, both of whom are great in their own right, plus a guy who I wish did my ankle replacement surgery back in December, which isn't going so well. More on that another time. I kick things off this week with the return of Tom Patri. He's done some traveling recently, going up to spend some time with his younger players, first on the opposite side of the state of Florida, then in Michigan. Tom and I get into the good and the bad things that have been happening around the PGA Tour. The good being Scottie Scheffler adding the Open to his growing list of majors. Tom weighs in on Scottie's controversial statements during his pre-Open press conference. We also talk about a word that's starting to get connected too often with Scottie, in my opinion, and that word is boring. I think it's absolutely crazy, but Tom doesn't think so. Previously with Tiger, right, we got used to seeing a guy who was dominating game hitting unimaginable shots, things that just blew our minds. We were mesmerized by the things that Tiger could pull off. He was never an accurate driver of the golf ball, but he would get into the trees or wherever, heavy rough, and then just hit an unbelievable shot onto the green and then pull off an amazing 30, 35-footer to drain a birdie or make an eagle or just wiggle out of what we thought was sure to be a double bogey, and he would make a par out of it. But now Scottie is dominating game by hitting fairways and greens. Fairways and greens? What? That's boring, hitting a fairway and a green, hitting it to 10 feet, making the putt. That's so boring. You gotta be kidding me. But Tom thinks so. It's amazing to me in its own way what Scottie is doing. To me, it's amazing in its consistency. It's amazing in its accuracy. And then on top of that, what a great guy Scottie Scheffler is. I would never discount what he's doing and what he's achieving, but Tom thinks the press conferences are boring. A lot of people are talking about his game is boring. It's just not as exciting as Tiger. It's not as mesmerizing in that way. So anyway, we'll talk about that. On the bad side of things, TP and I get into the Wyndham Clark destruction that he left behind at Oakmont. Plus this whole club throwing and tee marker breaking thing, to me, is getting out of hand. And the way to get it back under control, again, in my opinion, is for the PGA Tour to make public the fines and the suspensions that should be handing out in conjunction when those things happen. I think Tom agrees with me there. They've traditionally kept all that stuff under wraps, but I think it's time to make those things headlines if you want to make it stop, like TP and I think are on the same page there. We'll talk about that as well. Following him, I get a return visit from one of the most decorated and respected PGA professionals in the game, Tom Wildenhouse. Wilde is the director of golf at Old Florida Golf Club. He is a former National PGA Professional of the Year and a two-time Florida PGA Professional of the Year. He's got a great Substack page that I think you should definitely go out and subscribe to. He and I talk about some of the great articles that he's written on there. First, about the actual cost of turnover, what's lost when you have to bring in a new hire, the importance of explaining and showing those new hires the culture that you've worked so hard to establish, plus how to truly get to know the guests that join you at your club, and the societal loss of empathy on top of all of this, and what it's doing to us, again, as a society. Tom also gives us a lesson on how to set up your practice sessions. He is just fantastic. One of the great individuals that you get to meet in this life, and I'm so excited he is back with me again on this episode of the show. Then in part two, and speaking of back, Bill Mallon is back with me. He shares some of his favorite player stories this time around, including being there when Craig Stadler got his nickname the Walrus, He tells us who he learned the most from when he was out on tour. Spoiler alert, one of them is our good friend Gary Player. We also learned who he thought were the great underrated players that were out there, maybe some names we hadn't heard of before. Then we dip into his vast Olympic knowledge to hear his favorite Olympic moments, and we learned an interesting tie between the game of golf and where the Olympic curling stones come from. So, folks, I got a great couple of hours in store for you again this week. I can't thank you enough for tuning in, pressing play, and joining me to take the journey with me. So sit back, relax, and let us take your mind out of everything else going on in your life for the next couple of hours or so. All right, now back in Next on the Tee with me as our resident director of instruction, Tom Patri. Golf season in Florida, folks, you know this, it never ends, and Tom is ready to help you play your best golf year-round. You can find him down at Twin Eagles Golf Club in Naples, Florida, but if you're nowhere near there, and you're saying to yourself, I've got a fever, and the only cure is more Tom Patri, well, you can book a video lesson with him through the V1 video app and get his help no matter where you are, anywhere on the planet. You can also follow him online at tompatri.com. I tell you, you could follow him on Instagram at tompatrigolf, but we got to get into that in a second. That's on hold. Put a pin in that one. But it's always the greatest pleasure of the week when I get to say that he is back with me again this week here on Next on the Tee. TB, how are you, my friend?
Receive more.
Tommy, I'd like to say people can go follow you out on Tom Patri Golf on Instagram. I just learned moments ago that might not be possible. What the hell's going on?
So I get this, I go on every morning, Chris, as you know, I go on the other morning and all of a sudden I get this message, your account has been disabled. It's under review. You may have violated Instagram protocol of some kind. So I check it out, I Google it, and either I posted naked women or something, which I didn't, or somebody hacked my account and they shut it down to clean it and possibly put it back up. But as you know, with Instagram, which is also attached to my Facebook page, which is shut down, there's nobody to call. They don't have an 800 number. They don't take phone calls. You have this little chat box. I sent 45 chat messages and I've gotten no response. So I went on and I created a second page today, which is 2 weeks removed. They said it's usually under review. It takes 48 hours. It's been almost 2 weeks. I called my social media person. They say, well, sometimes it's 2 weeks and sometimes it's a month and sometimes it's never. I said, what do I do about it? They go, well, not much. You got to wait. And so I've been waiting, and I started a new page today, which is not even complete yet. And I'm relatively pissed off. So if I could find Mark Zuckerberg right now, I might strangle him.
Indeed. T. Patri Golf, that's the new page, your temporary page?
Yeah, I think that's it. Is that what I called it, Chris?
Yeah, T. Patri Golf.
So guess what? All you folks out there watching right now, if anybody has Mark Zuckerberg's home address, I'd like to have it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go on to happier topics, and then we'll get into some not so happy topics a little bit later on.
Let her roll, baby. Let her roll.
It's been a minute since we got to have you on the show, so let's go back and let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about the last two majors particularly and some things that happened there. Let's start with this past weekend. Let's talk about the Open. Scottie Scheffler gets his fourth major, and he does it in dominating fashion. All 4 rounds in the 60s for Scottie, including a 64 in the second round. He backed that up with a bogey-free 67 in the third round. Give me your thoughts on what you saw from Mr. Scheffler.
Scottie's golf is incredible. Scottie's the most boring human being on the planet. From khaki pants and white shirts to,
wow.
Oh, I just won the Open Championship. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here at Royal Portrush. The fans were incredible. I'm going to go home and celebrate for 5 minutes, then move on. Really? Really? I mean,
wow.
I can't, not harsh, factual. I can't tell you how. And listen, the guy's a great talent. I mean, we're not disputing his talent for a second, but the person is the most boring human being. And listen, we know you love your wife. I love mine too. We know you love your kid. I love mine too. Chris, you love your wife. You love your kid. I'm sure you do. Scottie, We heard you. We heard you 17 freaking times. We know you love your wife and your kid. We're not watching you because you're married and have a child. We're watching you because you're a great golf talent. Please do something, say something, smile, jump up and down, do a cartwheel, something.
All right, so let's take that a step further, Tom, because I'm sure you watched his press conference leading up to the Open.
Here we go.
It raised an eyebrow or two. He started with, "Why do I want to win the Open Championship so badly? I don't know, because it's going to be awesome for about 2 minutes."
2 minutes, Chris. 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah. Tom. He
Yeah.
went on to say, "This isn't a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from a sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of the deepest places in your heart." And he'd much rather, of course, be a great dad than a great golfer, because
can't you be both?
What does winning really mean, right?
Can't you be both? Can you be both?
It's Jack, I thought, did a pretty decent job of that, but
Arnold did, right?
Yeah.
Arnold did, right? I mean, a lot of people did, right?
Yep.
Scottie, you're not the first person playing the PGA Tour that had children and a wife. I don't know if you know that or not. News alert, newsflash, you're not the first human being married happily and have a child happily and play the PGA Tour happily. Scottie, great. We heard you. I got it. But you can't, Chris, you win the Masters. It was exciting for 5 minutes? Really? It was exciting. 5 minutes after it happened, it was no big deal? Really? You didn't think about it the next morning? You didn't think about it sometime when you're alone hitting balls on the range? It didn't cross your mind. It didn't really give you a great feeling inside in your gut? No, really? 5 minutes? I think, something. It's kind of like, I'll give you the antithesis, the opposite of this. Rocco Mediate is a whack job out of his mind, over the top, and just carries on and on and on and on forever about something. Scottie's the exact opposite. 5 minutes, it's over, and no excitement. I think Rocco and Scottie should get together and have lunch together. I'd like to sit at that table and draw some comparisons. I don't get it, Chris. I mean, Tiger, whether we liked him or didn't like him, and we have different opinions, you and I, about that, he moved the needle every time. Okay? Great sound bites, fist pumps, excitement. I think, best I can tell, Tiger Woods loves his son Charlie and loves his daughter very much. He spends a lot of time with them. You can see that, he's with them all the time. He's clearly excited when Charlie does something good on the golf course. He went to his daughter's soccer finals, was there, supportive. But he also was passionate about his golf. He did both, Scottie, it's like watching paint dry when he talks. Paint dry. And if he can Nike send him something with some color in it? Can they send him like a shirt with like a pattern, or maybe some flowers or some kind of design? The same colors every time, solid on solid, same white hat. Yeah, here we go, Teddy. Let's walk down to the fairway.
So let's take a couple of those things and maybe in a different bent to it. First of all, when you come out and you say things like, the 2 minutes and all that kind of stuff, could that be a way of trying to take pressure off of himself? Because the pressure's mounting. I mean, everyone's doing the Tiger comparisons now and all that sort of thing. Could it be a deflection? Could it be a pressure relief so that maybe he doesn't feel it quite as much when he's out on the golf course?
Could it be? Yes. Do I think it is? No. I think he's boring. Period. Let's move on.
Wow.
He is boring. He's boring.
So, I mean, people are saying, that, and I think they're saying it also in a different context, that his golf is boring because what does he do? He hits fairways and greens and makes putts. We're used to Tiger. When Tiger dominated, he was hitting it all over the planet. And and the amazing recovery shots was whatever. Oh my God, I can't believe he hit that shot. Oh my God, I can't believe that putt went in. Scottie's not that way. He's down the middle of the fairway. He's on the the green. What was he? Like 9 of 10 inside of 10 feet, or 13 of 14, something crazy.
Let's back up on 2 points just a little bit. Okay. So Tiger, Arnold, and Seve. Fun to watch, entertaining, exciting, animated, great sound bites. I mean, Sevi has some of the great sound bites on the planet. You know, I mean, just unbelievable. All exciting to watch, animated and great sound bites. Scottie, not as exciting to watch. You know, kind of, you know, like you said, fairways, greens, makes putts. But not too long ago, Chris. Remember he had that little putting spell that wasn't very good for
Right.
a while, right?
Yep. Yep.
And he wasn't so happy, was he? And we didn't hear about his family and his baby then. We heard about, yeah, I'm putting like shit and I suck and blah blah blah. But not in those terms. He wouldn't use those words, but he was kind of bitching and moaning about his putter. And now when he's playing great, and Phil Kenyon's obviously done a great job with his putter. Whatever magic Phil, whatever little fairy dust he sprinkled on him, it's worked, and he's putting great. And now we're not talking about our golf at all. We're talking about my wife and my kid. Scottie, I'm a golf fan. I listen. I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you have a wonderful child. Great. I don't really want to hear about it anymore, Scott. I don't want to hear about it. Tell me about golf. Tell me about how great it is to win majors and be number one in the world and be the face of the PGA Tour. He's not. He's not. He's like Casper the Friendly Ghost. He disappears. He vanishes. It's not exciting. It's boring. It's not. It doesn't move the needle. Does not move the needle. They said Billy Casper was boring. Billy Casper is Eddie Murphy compared to Scottie Scheffler.
I don't know. I mean, I love Scottie. I love what he's doing. I love
Oh,
Rocco Media too, by the way.
He's great.
Boy.
He's great. He's great talent. He's boring.
All right. Well, I had a couple other things we were going to say about Scottie, but moving on.
Go wherever you want to go, my man. Go wherever you want to go.
No. Let's talk about something else. Let's go now. We talked a little bit about the good. You made it bad, but we talked a little bit about the good. Now let's talk actually about the bad.
Here we go.
Because the situation with Wyndham Clark.
I know where we're going.
Wyndham Clark at Oakmont. We've all heard the story. We've all seen the pictures of the frustration and the broken 100-plus-year-old lockers that he, I don't know, kicked in, punched in, whatever he did to him. And for a few weeks, he seemed to have nothing to say, Tom, about the situation other than we should all move on. Last week, we got word that Oakmont has banned him. The course is scheduled to host the U.S. Open again in 2033, which coincidentally is the last year of his 10-year exemption for winning the U.S. Open a couple of years ago at LA Country Club. Oakmont said he could get back in now if he paid the damages and a meaningful contribution to a charity selected by their board, and he undergoes counseling for anger management. So let's all keep in mind, oh, by the way, this isn't the first time Wyndham has had a little run-in with anger. He just a few months ago, right, at the PGA, threw a driver, hit a sign on the 16th hole, which, by the way, prominently featured one of his sponsors. He nearly hit a volunteer, apologized, said it would never happen again until it did. So, Tom, I'm the only thing that I'm questioning about all of this is why did he wait so long to say what he should have said, which is, I'm sorry, of course I'm going to pay the damages and whatever else you want me to give something to. And, the anger management thing is something I think the PGA Tour should be stepping in to say something to him about. Plus, where's the USGA on all of this? To me, the USGA should be saying, better get this done soon, because guess what? Next year, you're not coming to the U.S. Open unless everything has been rectified.
Well, shame on the USGA for not taking the lead in this and Oakmont having to take the lead. And shame on the USGA for not doing something immediate about it and making a statement and maybe a fine or a suspension. Personally, I don't think the USGA, and here I'm going to get in a lot of trouble, has the balls to do that. Okay. And the fact that they haven't is shameful, because that kind of behavior at a place as historic as Oakmont and as visible as the action became, and it's crickets from the USGA, shame on them. Shame on them for that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oakmont, gave him every opportunity to get out in front of this thing. And he doubled down. I think we should all just move on. Don't you think, Oakmont? Move on. Wyndham, would you say move on? So either he's getting very bad counsel from his team, let's say his manager, his sponsors. Hey, Wyndham, you know what? You need to get on a plane, have a press conference, publicly apologize in the press conference and hand them the check for the charity of their choice for $100,000 and be heartfelt in your apology publicly. And the fact that you haven't done any of that and it's how many weeks removed, and now only because of maybe public pressure and visibility in this topic, are you kind of circling the wagons? You know what? Too late, pal. Too late as far as I'm concerned.
Couldn't agree with all of that more. And I'm just disappointed with everybody involved outside of Oakmont that here we are and nothing has been done to this point. Out some empty words. Speaking of shameful behavior, Tom, this whole club throwing thing is starting to get out of hand. We saw Rory do it at Oakmont with his driver. He also broke a tee marker, as did Brooks. Sergio broke his driver this past weekend at the Open when he slammed it on the ground in frustration. And look, I know the game of golf can be frustrating. And this is a bad look, Tom.
Yeah. I'm going to tell a story on myself, Chris, and how I solved my own angle problem. It was I'm trying to get the year right. I'm going to get this wrong. It was either 84 or 85. I was playing this is long before there's a Corn Ferry or a nationwide tour. I was playing full time, and you always had to find things to play in. And if I remember correctly, I was playing in the Iowa Open. Ready for that one? That's a major, Chris, by the way, the Iowa Open.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a major. And during, I think, the second round, and it was one of those things, I think it was in Des Moines, where, the public came out. It was a big deal, small town, big tournament for them. The people came out and followed people around. The high school kids caddied. The local news reporter came out. The whole thing, right? And young Tom Patri has a little meltdown on the golf course. Okay, as in those days he did at times. But again, the difference today is with social media and TV, everything's on a camera, right? Everything. So anyway, I go back to my hotel room that night. I have dinner. I come back to the room. I turn on the 11 o'clock news, and the sports come on. And the local sports commentator says, "Hey, check this guy out today." No name, thank God, at the Iowa Open. And they have me on video acting like a complete raving lunatic asshole, banging a club, then throwing it. And I'm sitting on the edge of my bed in my hotel room, and I see this, and it was mortifying. And now I realize that probably most of my friends in the tournament and other people in the tournament are watching this 11 o'clock broadcast too, and they're seeing the same thing. I was in this hotel room by myself. It's hard to be embarrassed when you're by yourself, but I was mortified. I wanted to crawl under the bed. I got up the next morning to go play my second round. I went out to the range, and don't you know, every one of my guys came up to me and said, "Hey, did you see the 11 o'clock news last night? Nice job, TP. Nice job." That cured me instantly. I've never thrown one since then. I can't say I haven't been upset on the golf course since then. That would be a lie. But when you see yourself behaving that way, if you have any scruples at all, and I guess these guys don't have any because I'm sure they see this on the replay, it cured me instantly. Now, let's go far back on Rory for a second. He made a wonderful toss, if you remember, several years back at Doral on number 10 when he threw that thing about. It was a great throw, actually. It was I would give it a 10, 9, 5, or 10 into the lake on number 10 at Doral. Do you remember that, Chris?
Oh, for sure.
That was I remember watching that broadcast. I think it was a Saturday third round. I think it was. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And I was like, did I just see that happen? And Rory's done that on multiple occasions since then. And nobody says boo to Rory. Rory's a nice guy. You know what? Maybe he's a nice guy, but he acts like a buffoon. Wyndham Clark, Sergio, JT at times. And nobody does anything about this behavior. Is the tour scared of these guys? They're going to take their toys and go home and not going to play anymore? Okay, go ahead. Whatever. But, and the $2,000 fine or $2,500 fine doesn't mean anything to these guys. Nothing. Give them a 2-shot penalty where it could cost them $100,000 at the end of the week. That might get their attention, or suspend them from the next 2 elevated events. That could catch their attention, but something's got to be done because it's absolutely out of control. We're not John McEnroe in tennis in the 70s. That's not who we are. That's not who we want to be. I don't think that's who we want to be. It's just bad stuff. It's bad stuff.
Yeah, and I want to take what you said there at the end a step further because I think you're right. I think this has got to be a very public fine and a very public suspension. You know, the PGA Tour likes to keep all that on the down low, and they don't want to say anything. It's it's all behind closed doors.
I agree.
I think it needs to become very public.
I agree, 100%. Couldn't agree more.
We can't tolerate that anymore.
It's ridiculous, and nobody has. But just like I said with the USGA before, even the PGA Tour, shame on you guys. You have no balls to do anything about this. It's not who we are. It's not who we want to be. I don't think it is.
So we turned from that. Did you see the video of the 2-stroke penalty that Shane Lowry was assessed on Friday when his ball moved slightly when he took a practice swing?
I read it. I saw a real quick video clip, but I didn't see it live.
Yeah, I didn't see it live either, but I certainly saw the video clip of it. And the ball moves. There's no question that the ball moves. I mean, he sort of semi-grounds his club behind the ball in the rough, picks it up, steps aside a little bit, takes a practice swing, ball oscillates, moves a dimple or two. 2-stroke penalty. Seems harsh, 2 strokes. A stroke, okay, maybe. But it didn't improve his lie. Didn't, affect anything, really. Gets a 2-stroke penalty for that. I don't know, Tom. I mean, the rules of golf have come under a lot of scrutiny over the last few years, changed a lot of things. And certainly, I appreciate the fact that we don't have, everybody calling in because they saw a replay of something that was, enlarged 100 times so they could see that this or that happened. I appreciate the fact that we're not looking at TV viewers calling in for things anymore, but still, it seemed like an awful lot for a practice swing. He wasn't even looking at the ball, and you get 2 strokes. And now, obviously, it didn't make any difference in the tournament for him. Kind of actually put him back near the cut line on Friday, but seems harsh.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Do you agree? Don't agree?
For 25 years, I was like, why can't we tap down spike marks?
Yes.
Why are we penalized by something somebody else did in front of us? Why did they have a smooth surface? Then they scuff their feet, and I have to bear the brunt of that behind them because of my tee time. So forever, I was like, why can't? And then they finally fixed that. So we can go back and forth on all these things. We can leave the flag stick in now, and we can use the flags. I don't agree with that at all. So I think they've done. I don't know what they're trying to do with things they've changed and things they haven't changed. It seems like they step on the gas when they should step on the brake and step on the brake when they should step on the gas. 2 shots in that situation does seem harsh to me. And then you have a situation a few years back when Patrick Reed was like, you remember that whole deal? Taking 75
I swear
back?
That's my ball.
I swear that's my ball, right? So and then you have definitely what happened there. So I think there's a consistency problem and a logic problem that needs to kind of be resolved. I've always had a problem. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. Here I go. I've always had a problem with amateurs deciding the rules of the game, and the USGA are amateurs deciding the rules of the game. I have always thought the PGA Tour and the PGA of America should get together and say, "Hey guys, guess what? We're gonna handle professional golf, and we're gonna make rules for the professionals that play the game." I know you have independent situations like the RNA, the USGA, the the Open Championship and the US Open and the Masters, that you don't have complete control over. But I think it's time for professionals, people who do this for a living, to kind of sit down and take control of the rules of the game. We've had this discussion before, just like we started out with this Oakmont situation with Wyndham Clark. I don't think the USGA is ready for this one, qualified to do what they do.
Oh,
I said it.
Wow, you said it out loud too.
I said it out loud. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Now I'm gonna hear about that, and that's fine. That's fine. I think professionals should be making those decisions and reviewing those situations.
Tom, one more before I let you go, and I know you're great friends with the guy coming in behind you, Tom Wildenhouse. Tell everybody about Wilde.
So I came to Naples, Chris, in 2001, not knowing a soul in town. And two people, a fellow named Ben Steele, who's now retired and lives in North Georgia, and a guy named Tom Wildenhouse, were the only two people in town that truly made me feel welcome. Professional golfers and PGA sections are funny things. They get very cliquey sometimes. I came from a section called the Met section, which is, I think, one of the really fine sections in the country. I didn't know much about the South Florida section when I got here. There was always a little bit of, around the country, a little bit of jealousy towards the Met section. It was clear to me when I got here that I felt, through some actions, felt unwelcome with some people in the professional ranks here in Naples and in South Florida. Those two gentlemen, and in particular Tom Wildenhouse, reached out for me, invited me to their respective clubs, told me I was welcome anytime. Wilde and I, through the years, have become, I think, at least in my opinion, very good friends. He's a giver. He's always been a giver. We talked about John Kennedy a couple weeks ago, my former employee at Westchester, being a giver. A lot of similarities between Wilde and JK. A lot of things that they've both done for people around them, not for themselves. They've sacrificed some of their own time and personal time to give back to the game, give back to the community. Wilde is forget being a great golf professional, which he is, a great golf professional. One of my favorite PGA members on the planet, but he's a wonderful human being, a guy that I have a lot of respect for, I care very much for. He actually called me yesterday about a little faux pas I made on social media in terms of my the way I was posting my Teacher of the Year awards in the past, and he was absolutely right. I didn't know I was doing anything wrong, and he corrected me. But he corrected me in a very kind way. In a way that he was looking out for me, so I wouldn't make a mistake. And I really appreciated the phone call. I felt like my dad called me in and scolded me a little bit, and I kind of deserved it. Not knowing I made a mistake, not doing something intentional, but he's got a way about him. Wilde's got a way about him that just makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel good about the game. His membership at Old Florida, God, I hope they appreciate him, because there aren't many of him on the planet like him. I mean, I've been blessed in my career. I've been blessed by being mentored by Bill Strasbaugh and John Kennedy, and to some degrees, he probably doesn't even realize he has, but he's mentored me here in Naples. And when I have a question and I need a go-to, he's one of the guys that I pick up the phone and call, or go over and have lunch with and sit down and talk to. In casual conversations, he's done things to help me and educate me. He probably doesn't even realize he's done that. I could go on for a long time, Chris, about Tom Wildenhouse, but please give him my very best. He works about 2.5 miles from where I work. We see each other on a semi-regular basis. I try to get over here and see him, and we see each other at functions, but I wish I could spend more time with the guy, because it's always valuable.
Tom, before I let you go, now I'd say remind everybody how they can stay up to date with you, but apparently you've got another place where you earned a 2-stroke penalty. So,
Chris, you know the name of my new page. I don't even remember what I said. What is it called?
Patri Golf.
Patri Golf on Instagram. I've got one follower so far, my wife, I think, down from 5,500 because of being disabled. So here I go, starting all over again. We'll build that baby back up quickly. Hopefully the other page gets reinstated here. But my website is www.tompatri.com. I always welcome anybody's questions, comments, or concerns. But the best place to hear me right now is every other Tuesday on Next on the Tee with the greatest host and podcast on the planet, Chris Mascaro.
Appreciate you, my friend. You're the best. I'm already looking forward to 2 weeks from tonight. It just doesn't get better than you, my friend.
I'm going to stay on and listen to a little Wilde.
Oh, look at you hanging around. A little after show. Take care, my friend. All the best, you and your family. We'll catch up soon.
Love you, pal.
See you, TP. That's a great Tom Patri, folks. Again, I'd love to tell you, he's all over social media, but right now, T Patri Golf on Instagram. TomPatri.com is the website. What he didn't mention is his YouTube channel. Hopefully that's okay, because there's over 350 playing lessons, free, oh, by the way, waiting for you there. So please go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Get all the help that you can. And if you want to get a video lesson from him, get on V1. Send him videos of your golf swing. Let him help you out. He can do it all year round. He's the best. Look forward to catching up with TP again in a couple of weeks. Coming up next, just like you heard in the end of this past segment with Tom Patri, a guy who's near and dear to his heart, my heart, and one of the most decorated PGA professionals in our game, Tom Wildenhouse, is going to join me. Before I bring Wilde into the show, I want to remind you about our wonderful friends over at On Point Golf and their out-of-this-world On Point Golf Ball Marker. And if you don't have one, folks, you really need to go check it out at onpointgolf.us. Get the #1 ball marker in the game of golf. On Point is the only three-dimensional ball marker out there, with alignment technology and a removable coin that is approved to use according to the rules of golf. As you know, putting is all about line and pace. Mark your ball with On Point, engage with your three-dimensional ball marker, and have more confidence in your line, execute the putt, and you're going to lower your scores. Do what the likes of Jim Furyk, PGA professionals, and amateurs alike are doing now. They use the #1 ball marker in golf and they lower their scores. You know Ken Duke and Thongchai JD. They won for the first time on the PGA Tour in 2023, and they were using an On Point ball marker. Get yours at onpointgolf.us and make more putts. And oh, by the way, you can also customize the removable coin for any club, event, or corporate outing. They make really great tee gifts and custom products. That's also going to help lower your score. I use On Point ball markers. Mine is black and gold, 3D black golf ball with a gold line down the middle to help me line up my putts. It's like having a 15th club in my bag. It's helped my game. Why wouldn't you let it help yours? Again, onpointgolf.us. See what I'm talking about. Order yours today. I also want to remind you about our wonderful friends over at Squares Golf.
So Nick here. What if there was a golf shoe embraced by hundreds of thousands of golfers, celebrated for its stability, comfort and distance? What if this shoe earned the title of most technologically advanced golf shoe by Sports Illustrated? And what if the company behind that shoe spent the last year perfecting a brand new category of golf footwear? Well, the what if is here. Introducing the all-new Pro S2 LT by Squares, a new class all of its own, the perfect blend of lightweight comfort and stable performance. You'll notice the difference. Change your shoes, change your game. Squares.
All right, now back and next on the tee with me is the aforementioned Tom Wildenhouse. Tom is the director of golf at one of the top courses in the state of Florida, Old Florida Golf Club. He has been named the National PGA Professional of the Year and twice named the Florida PGA Professional of the Year. Tom has been a member of the South Florida PGA section throughout his career. Started off in the Southwest chapter back in 1994 when he served as the education chairperson. Went on to serve on the board of directors from 1997 to 2007. He also served on the PGA of America Public Relations Committee from 2010 to 2012 and served on the PGA of America Board of Control until 2019. Tom also won the South Florida PGA Horton Smith Award in 1996 and 98, the Bill Straussbaugh Award in 2008, and was inducted into the South Florida PGA Hall of Fame in 2011. He's earned PGA Master Professional status, and I couldn't be more honored he is back with me again this week here on Next on the Tee. Hey, Tom, thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you, Chris. That's quite the introduction. I hope I can live up to all that.
I know you can do that and a heck of a lot more. Now, you heard Tom Patri, I think, at the end of the last segment, singing your praises. He has not only done that on the show, by the way, he's done it in private with me as well. Thinks the world of you.
Well, that's very nice. I'm very humbled. TP's a great guy, and I agree with him. We've become good friends, not just professionally, but I think through some mutual friends. We've been through some stuff, and it's been great to get to know Tom. He's got one of the best eyes in golf as far as fixing somebody. I've taken a few students to him that I couldn't help, and Tom's taken care of them in short order. Really good guy, great friend, and very impressed with what he has done on his own time to support the South Florida PGA Foundation. He had his biggest year ever this year. I believe he raised just a little over $12,000 for South Florida PGA, and we appreciate all his efforts. He's a good man. He's a good man. I wish we could get together more often.
Yes, he is. Tom, I want to start off our time together getting your thoughts on the Open. What'd you think about what you saw from Scottie and of Royal Portrush?
Having played Royal Portrush, I kept telling people that that's one of the more rugged tests of golf that I've ever seen. When you look out onto that golf course without all the grandstands and whatever, it just looks super rugged and super difficult to navigate. And I thought the way Scottie handled himself there was pretty remarkable. He controlled his golf ball for the most part, stayed away from all those pot bunkers. He played away from the hole. And as TP said, it was boring, but he came out on top, being boring. I think that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, so let's take that a step further. And I'm hearing that word associated with Scottie an awful lot, the word boring. And I don't know, Wilde. I mean, when I think about Scottie Scheffler and how he's out there dominating golf tournaments, is it boring? Well, I mean, he hits fairways. That's what we're trying to do. He hits greens. That's what we're trying to do. And he makes putts. And now, I mean, he's not Arnold Palmer. He's not Tiger Woods in that he's not all over the planet. He's not hitting tee shots into the woods, into the trees, and then hitting banana slices around it and making it onto the green. And he's not draining 50-foot curling putts and all that sort of thing. We do see a fist pump from him when the putts go in, but he's just not all over the place. He's just very consistent. Now, is he the most colorful interview at the end? The press conference this past week kind of raised a few eyebrows, talked about how it's only fun for 2 minutes and that kind of thing. But when I watch him play, Tiger, we were all amazed at, just, again, because of the recovery shots, the things that he would pull off and things like that just blew our socks off. Scottie blows my socks off in a different way. He's just incredibly consistent. Hits great tee shots. It's great shots. Always, I don't remember what the stat was, Tom. Maybe you do. Maybe like 13 of 15 inside of 10 feet or, something like that. I mean, the guy's just methodically taking golf courses apart. And to me, that's something to behold.
Yeah, I didn't mean that to sound like it was a negative. I think you're absolutely right. I think you described it perfectly. I mean, that's the way you win majors. That's the way you win golf tournaments, is you make smart decisions and you play the golf course that's in front of you and you make the fewest mistakes. And he does that, kind of week in and week out. I don't remember the stat, but I want to say the percentage was a little greater than 30% win rate here in the last year and a half. I mean, that's Tiger-esque. Really, he's just doing it in a much different way than Tiger did. Tiger hit all these spectacular, crazy shots out of roughs and whatever over water hazards at the Canadian Open and all that kind of stuff out of bunkers. But, Scottie does it in a much more, to use your word, methodical way. I think it's beautiful. And it just doesn't make for as many highlights, I think, at the end of the round, when you're looking for these spectacular shots. But I admire the guy. On some level, there was some stuff that I wonder if Scottie didn't want to walk back, after that press conference. But, I kind of get where he's coming from when he talks about, the wins, and you celebrate for just a little while and then you kind of move on. I think it's hard for most of us that don't compete at a really high level. But if you listen to a lot of the other greats in whatever sports they are, they talk about how they remember the losses much greater than they remember the wins. And after the big wins, they can celebrate, but they've got to move on because there's a job to do. There's another tournament next week for Scottie, or 2 weeks for Scottie. So I kind of get where he's coming from there, but the rest of it was quite eye-opening and kind of hard to process.
Tom, let's switch gears a little bit. And you wrote a wonderful article on your Substack page regarding the cost of turnover, and that topic is very near and dear to my heart. You wrote about it in terms of culture and experience. Talk about that and being in the business of relationships.
Wow, Chris, I'm impressed that you found that. I think I have 6 followers on Substack, so you finding that is pretty amazing. So it dawned on me one day this winter. We had some unexpected changes at the club, and as I'm helping outside and greeting the players and on the putting green and just watching how we were doing and things that were going on, it dawned on me that, and I think I come out in the article and say that I, pretty well had made a mistake when it came time to the change of commands that we had made. And I didn't do a good enough job of relaying our culture, relaying our expectations, and building the team the way that I had done in the past. And just that particular day, it had dawned on me that by not making the time to sit down with the new leaders that we had hired to describe our culture and our expectations, the things that we have become known for, that we had lost a step, and that our guest services and our member experience didn't quite meet the expectations that we had set for ourselves and that our members and guests had come to expect. So that day was a bit of an eye-opener for me. And to be honest, that was the start of my sort of trying to find ways to give back to the industry for that emerging leader that's out there that kind of wants to know what it takes to be a leader, to be a director of golf or a club manager, a head golf professional, director of instruction, any of those roles you have to lead. And so Substack is my place. I think I've got 4 articles posted now on my learnings on being a leader. I'm not going to write on anything that I haven't experienced. And that turnover was a bit of an aha moment for me. And I wanted to document it, not only to share, but for myself, to remind myself that every time you have turnover, you can't just assume that the new person coming in is going to just glean or magically pick up your culture and your expectations. You have to put some time and energy into that. You have to cultivate that. And I think culture is an elusive thing. But I know when I go to a facility, I can feel the culture. Sometimes you can see it, but culture is a really big driver for me.
Tom, when you lose a person off of your staff and you bring in a new hire, kind of getting back to what you were just talking about a moment ago, talk about why explaining your culture to them and defining that up front is so important.
That's a good thought. I think what I learned on that particular day that I was describing is that your member services, your member experience can deteriorate. And I think what ends up happening, or could end up happening if not addressed, is it'll move into the other parts of your staff. And if the culture starts to fall apart, then the other staff members will feel it, and then your whole organization will start to feel it's like a cancer that just spreads throughout everything. And for me, I think it's really important that our members and guests get a very consistent experience every time they come out, and without sitting down with the new hires and really describing to them who we are, where we've been, what we stand for, what teamwork to us really means. I think things can get sideways rather quickly. And, that particular day that I wrote about, that's what happened. I noticed our guest services and member experience had declined. And it wasn't until that day, which was 30 or 60 days after the hire, that I realized it had happened. So it can really permeate the organization if you're not careful.
Getting to know your guest there at Old Florida is a big part of the experience, and not treating all the players and all the tee times like it's just purely a transaction. Talk about what you and your staff do to get to know the people who are coming through the doors there.
Yeah, you've really touched on it. I think whether it's my team or whether it's the members and the guests that come through Old Florida, relationships are really what drives everything for us. So I really enjoyed getting to know my team so that I know how to properly position them on the team, what kind of makes them go. Sometimes people don't like public praise, and when you do it, it's really embarrassing to them and they'll pull back. And other times public praise is a real motivator and a driver. But recognizing, our members and guests when they arrive, trying to anticipate their needs, getting to know them just a little bit. I think that's really the whole point of private clubs. I mean, I'm going to paint the whole thing with one brush here, but everybody has a driving range, and everybody serves a great hamburger, and everybody has a great locker room and golf courses. But the thing to me that really makes a difference is the team that services the members and guests when they arrive. Our staffs, our teams really make the biggest difference in creating that personal, individual, customized experience for our members. So by getting to know them, we're able to customize and personalize those experiences, because we know that Chris likes a wet towel on his golf bag when he comes out. And Tom Patri never wants to drive. He always wants to be on the passenger side. Those things, when they happen consistently over time, it really makes a member and a guest feel seen and feel understood. And that's a big part of what we do at Old Florida. And fortunately for us, given the makeup of Old Florida Golf Club with no tee times and relatively low rounds of golf on any given day, we have the time to invest in getting to know our members and guests. And one of the things that makes me feel the best is when a guest will come into my office and he'll just tell me, I got to tell you that your team really made me feel like a member today. I mean, that's for a really, really great feeling. That's when I know we're clicking on all cylinders.
You've also written about empathy, which is something I feel we've lost as a society. Talk about the role that empathy can play in developing a high-performing team or an individual employee.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one, Chris, but I did write about it because I had an experience a few years back that brought things to light for me, and I write about that. I think empathy for a lot of guys is a tough one, right? None of us guys really want to show our feelings or be seen as being empathetic necessarily, but I think it's a skill that makes us vulnerable and makes us more human to our teams. My experience is one that I'll carry with me forever, which is where we had an intern that was performing fantastic when he started, and 3 months in, we noticed a change. I noticed a change. The performance had gone downhill. The attitude had changed. And so the head golf professional and I had scheduled a meeting with him, and I was ready to pretty well pounce on the young man and kind of give him the business and tell him that he'd gotten lazy and wasn't trying. And our head golf professional was actually a mentor of mine as I was growing up. I'm very fortunate to have Mike Arthur with me at that time, because before I could say anything, Mike stepped in and said, "Hey, we've noticed a difference in you. Is everything okay with you?" And the young man told me that things were not okay, that his mother had just been diagnosed with a very, very serious illness, and he was worried about her at home. I'm sitting here talking to you about it, and I still get goosebumps, Chris, because I think about what I could have done to make what I was prepared to do. And I could have made that situation way worse for that young person. So what I've learned through that is that the people that come to work for us every day that help carry out the visions that we have and the missions that we set, they're people, they're not just positions. And I think it will serve us very well to create relationship with those people and recognize that they're people first. They're not the job that they do, they're not the position that they hold, but they're people, and we need to treat them as such.
Tom, as what we've touched on here through the course of this conversation and the things that you've written about, I don't know, I feel like as a society, we've sort of lost the sense of taking care of one another. And to your point a moment ago about being empathetic with the other person, do you feel like we've sort of lost our way just in general as people over the course of, I don't know if it's because of social media and we can create fake accounts and we can go out there and say whatever we want and hide behind that fake account. There's no accountability, but something changed. And I don't know when or why, but I feel like as a society, as a people, we're angrier, we're much divided because of politics, and something happened that I feel like we lost our way.
I'm with you. I don't know exactly what triggered all this, but I do feel like empathy's been lost. We could use a good dose of it, really. I don't know whether it's the politics or the social media. People can hide behind their keyboards and their screens, and they don't have to take accountability for what they say and the bullying that they do. But you can see it almost everywhere you go, whether you're driving down a busy road or somebody cuts in front of you in the grocery store. You can see the frustration and anger in a lot of people these days. It's really unfortunate. So I'm doing what I can to lead through empathy in my little world, my little part of the world.
Tom, one more before I let you go, and just I want to get a quick tip from you. What's the question when people see you on the practice range, or they see you in the pro shop, or just out on the golf course, and they want a bit of advice? What's the question you get asked the most, and what's something you can give to our listeners that might help them shave a stroke or two this weekend?
Well, it hasn't changed in my 35 plus years, and It's always, how do I hit it farther? And the USGA is doing what they can to mess that up too. But I'll let Mr. Patri take care of the USGA. He's good at it. I think more than anything, what I think is people want to know how to get more consistent. After they ask the distance question, it's how do they get more consistent. And I think you and I both know, being lovers of the game, that it's just about putting in the time and putting in the reps. I had a gentleman with me back in the middle of our season, and was lamenting that he couldn't get the ball to do what he wanted it to do. And he hit a few errant shots, and he said to me, I can put $1 million deals together, but I can't hit this stupid golf ball. He might have used more colorful language than that.
I bet he did.
But I reminded him that if he put the same time in on his golf game that he puts in on those $1 million deals, he probably could control the golf ball like he wants to. So the reps really matter, but I also think that it's proper practice. So seeing a PGA professional, letting that PGA professional help you build a practice session, not just help you with your golf swing, but help you build a practice session. What does it look like? And I think most amateurs would be surprised at what a real practice session looks like, and how many drills that are going to get recommended, how many actual, game speed swings that a PGA professional would recommend that you make. I know that when I teach, it's all about slowing everything down so that you can actually feel and make that change. Because I don't believe that at game speed we can make the change. So I think it starts with a much slower swing so you can feel the change. One drill that I give people is to try to give them one golf club and have them hit it 3 different distances. So if you're hitting your 8-iron 150, that's your top end, and I want to see you hit it 140, and I want to see you hit it 130. And I want you to figure out how to do that between the rotation of your body and the swing of your arms.
Wow.
And you just let them feel it on their own. And it takes a little while, but they'll get it. They'll get it. If they stay with it, they'll get it. But I think that's one way for people to start to feel like they can control their golf ball, is to slow it down.
I love that. Tom, before I let you go, remind our listeners again, how can they stay up to date with all the great things you're out there doing? Subscribe to that Subtrack. Because I think I think people should get on there and read what you've put out there, because I think it's brilliant.
Well, that's awfully nice, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, that's a new venture for me. I started that back in March, I believe, and that's just my way of kind of giving back to the golf industry and anybody, frankly, that's an emerging leader that wants to understand leadership skills. So you can find me on Substack. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. And I do dabble a little bit with Instagram, but I'm not there as often.
Tom, it has been incredibly wonderful having you back as part of the show. Each time that you have given your time and come and joined me, it's been fantastic. It's a learning experience for me. I know Tom Patri goes back and takes a listen. It's a learning experience for him and all of our listeners. You are an incredible person, a wonderful instructor, and just a great human being. I can't thank you enough for coming back and being a part of the show.
Chris, I appreciate it very much. And I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about the Substack stuff, because that's where I find myself today in my career, is just really wanting to give back as much as I can. So I appreciate the opportunity to be on, and thank you for everything you do for the game of golf.
No, Tom, I can't thank you enough. All the best to you and your family. I'm looking forward to the next time I get the privilege of having you back on the show.
As am I, sir.
See you, Tom. That's the great Tom Wildenhouse, folks. Again, go out there and subscribe to that Substack. I'm telling you, you read the articles that he has put out there, and it's just every one of them struck a chord with me. That's why I wanted to ask him about it. I wanted to get a little deeper in there. I think there's some more that we should be talking about with Tom. I certainly want to talk more about the practice session and how you set up the proper one. But the things that he wrote about, the empathy, first of all, is, like I said a moment ago, I think it's something that we have lost as a society. Too easy to get out on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling that thing, or on Instagram, create some fake account and just start spewing all kinds of negativity, because there's no accountability for that. You can say whatever you want, and we stir up negativity. But, the fact that anyone wants to do that is a head scratcher. And I think a lot of that stuff is foreign made and all that sort of thing. But the fact that people want to stir up negativity and call people names and all of that, I mean, look at the toll that it takes on individuals. It takes on our teenagers. Look, even our best athletes. Look at the toll it took on Lexi Thompson. I mean, for crying out loud, we need We need to be more empathetic. We need to be more positive. We should be giving people a hand up instead of kicking them when they're down. All that sort of stuff, as you guys know, drives me crazy. We should be all about the positive. Unfortunately, it's too much about the negative. And kudos to Tom for being out there and writing about it and sharing his lessons. So I can't recommend his Substack enough. Go out there and subscribe to it. I look forward to getting him back on the show again before too long. All right, my friends, it is time for me to put a bow on part 1 of this week's show. My sincere thanks to the Toms, Patri and Wilde, two of the finest individuals anywhere on the planet. Can't thank those guys enough for coming back and continuing to be a part of the show. Tom Patri, 119 times now, as you know, tries to come back just about every other week with me. And then Wilde coming back. Wilde is just, you heard it. How great is that guy? This is the 3rd time I've had the privilege of spending time with him. Already looking forward to number 4. So my thanks to them. Now come back for part 2 because I get Bill Mallon back. Bill's got some great stories from his career, guys that he got to play with. He was playing with Craig Stadler when Stads got the nickname the Walrus, and he's going to tell you that story. So much to get into with Bill. I really enjoy every time he's a part of the show. This is going to be number 4 when he comes back for part 2, and I hope you'll do the same. Folks, thank you for continuing to be the greatest supporters in the history of podcasts. Nobody has a better support group than I do, and Next on the Tee. You guys are awesome. Until next time, hit 'em straight, my friends.
Thanks for joining Chris again this week on Next on the Tee. We hope you enjoyed the conversations as much as we did. Please share the show with your golf buddies and be sure to follow it on Trib Live or your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Thanks for pressing play and being part of the journey. We'll see you next week, right here, where the best minds in golf share their stories.